Ready to call to order? Like to do roll call. Chris Redford here. Susan Sunderman
Here.
Rob Wagner here. Eric Toman
Here.
Kevin Randich here. Carrie Falkenrath
Here.
all right, and we've got Emily Shepard sitting in for the mayor.
Here.
All right, are you like, since she's out of town, are you like the official mayor right now?
No. If we need a mayor pro tem, that's Pam.
Great. And we've got our assistant chief. All right.
You need a marker.
Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes from last month? And if so, does anyone have any corrections or additions? Are you waiting for that hard copy?
She will in the
Yeah.
future.
Okay.
Next time.
Okay, we'll see if Eric has a copy of that. Everyone have a chance to review the minutes? Look good? Chris, we missed you, but we had everyone else here.
I abstain. I can't vote on the minutes.
Anyone want to put forward a motion to approve the minutes? Rob, second?
Second.
All right, Susan, all in favor of approving the minutes? Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, excellent. We're moving right along before the storm comes. Just a quick reminder what our goals are for the year 24-25. Number one, we use safety as our guiding principle and propose recommendations that are unbiased, transparent, and administered fairly. We are a valuable partner to the SS4A task force, and we have a member, Eric, down here representing us. We are developing educational programs to introduce complete streets concepts to residents, employees, and city employers and city employees. And actually, that's a big part of the comprehensive plan. I don't know if anyone was able to make some of the meetings the other day, but it's really one of their pillars that they're working on. So that's awesome, in my opinion. We're streamlining our meeting agendas and conducting regular monthly meetings, and we are finalizing our process and plan for capturing, evaluating, and communicating back to citizens on their requests. We've now arrived to the point where visitors are welcome to chime in and give up to 3 minutes. Okay. We typically don't do a back and forth. It's just we listen to you,
Sure.
take it in,
That's
and you both can have 3 minutes if you want it.
I don't think so. Kevin Hastings, 73 Marshall Place. My home is the one next to Rolling Ridge Nursery. And I just wanted to come and thank the commission for the parking changes that we made on our street. At least from my perspective, on the end of the street, it's been a very positive implementation, especially with access to Gore and from Gore onto Marshall Place. Without that extra parking on the sides, people can much easier get out in and out and not have to stop or pull over. Having a one sided parking at my end of the street also, I think, makes it easier for trucks and other delivery vehicles to get through. So thank you very much. I hope it continues, and I just wanted to say I appreciate everything you do. So
Thank you.
Thank you for
you.
coming. We appreciate that.
That's great feedback.
That is.
That was really nice.
And
Yeah.
you guys also, you're welcome to stay for our whole meeting. You don't have to.
I think we'll duck out.
We don't consider it rude, but you probably want to listen to Mr. Buck.
Oh, sorry, to hear from Mr. Buck.
Dave Buck, Colonial Village Apartments. First of all, I want to thank Carrie for her tactful email response on the golf carts and the crosswalks. I really appreciate it. I don't personally agree with all your stuff.
Yeah.
I know, but it was very helpful, and I get it. So, but the primary reason I'm here is because I want to just plant a seed. That's all I want to do today. I circulated an email a little bit earlier. Clark got it, Chris got it, Carrie got it. And I will set it up this way, that if you've ever been, for example, to Madison, Wisconsin, Madison, Wisconsin is kind of known as the bike friendly or bike capital of America. I mean, they have embraced bicycling, and a big percentage of their population bikes, kids bike to school, people bike to work. I mean, they've really embraced bicycling. And whereas, you know, we have put bike lanes on some streets here, not all the streets, but some of them, they've just gone full bore, you know, and I'm not going to say all the things they do, but they own bicycling. Whenever people I've been lived here 25 years, and you ask people in surveys or just on the street, describe Webster Groves, or what do you like about Webster Groves? Usually at close to the top is a response that says Webster Groves is a walkable community, not a drivable community, not a bikeable community, but a walkable community. Now, I'm not smart enough to know exactly what that means. And I don't know if more people walk in Webster Groves than anywhere else. It doesn't seem like it, but for some reason, people play back, we're a walkable community. And so the idea I'm simply planting is that what if Webster Groves as a community and its boards and commissions united together to really own a walkable community, to make Webster the best walkable community as possible. And I will link this first back to the whole crosswalk discussion, because if we're going to be the best walkable community in the Midwest or America, you know, I think our crosswalks are too dangerous. I think we would be looking at different crosswalks if we wanted to be the best walkable community that's safe, that's healthy, you know, for our community. And so I just think it's kind of conceptually a cool idea. I think our community already views Webster that way. So how can we own it? How can we celebrate it and really be the best walkable community? And Clark knows, I don't walk very much. Clark walks probably more than anybody I know. But the point is that I think there's a real opportunity, and it touches almost every board and commission. And we could really unite the whole city behind it. So that's it.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
And you sure you don't want your 3 minutes? You got your 3 minutes. That's
Well,
right.
we appreciate you.
All right, thank you. Say hi to our buddies, the Smiths and the Schreers down
Yeah.
at Marshall Place.
Yeah, good luck. Thank you.
Have a good night. All right, Eric, any updates on the SS
Yeah,
4A?
so October 21st, we had the first kind of formal meeting after the kickoff. And it was mainly still an introduction meeting. They covered a review of the project map, which, maybe in our December meeting, I can put together a more comprehensive, like Google map thing so everyone can see exactly where we're talking. In fact, I will do that. I don't have it now. But it's just going over those 6 project locations. They went in depth a little bit more on those, which was interesting. We went over a timeline update, which essentially, again, this project is kind of broken up into phases. There's this grant is technically a study grant. They're going out there doing these things, studying how they do. So they got to put that together. We got to do the sample, the demonstration stuff, and then they got to put the report together, tracking the data, and then they got to submit for the implementation grant. So this is a long process. We will not likely see construction until maybe the fall of 25, but I think maybe even into
For
26.
the demonstration project?
For the demonstration. So you're talking, the timeline to get the implementation grant, you're talking, you'll be lucky if it's the latter part of this decade, you know? But that's okay. I mean, it's a long time frame. I'm roughly right on those numbers, right? So, and I wasn't, that seems like a long time, but if you think about it, by the time you do the environmental analysis and then you put together the projects, put them out to bid, even simple stuff like pavement marking, I mean, basically, if you don't have it out to bid this spring, you're gonna miss the 25 construction season, and they probably are. And then all of a sudden, you're cyclically into the 26 season.
Carrie, your brow is furrowed.
No, I'm just thinking,
Okay.
no.
They might get some of them in next fall, you know, but we'll see. They are doing a survey as part of this, a community outreach survey with a series of questions just to try and gauge the feel of the community and engage them in what they're doing. I think that's gonna be neat. That is coming shortly. I think they talked about having that like by January or early 25. That survey should be very interesting for us. We might piggyback off that survey here in this committee and find, because a lot of it's having to do with commuting and traffic and multimodal transportation. So I would think there'll be some pretty valuable data for us in that survey. So that's gonna be interesting. I believe the intention is to do one survey now and then a separate survey down the road after the demonstration projects have been installed. So that's interesting. And I think we might want to watch what are the mechanisms that they, you know, what channels do they push the survey through and how, you know, how difficult is it? Because we might want to do a survey like that down the road based on our criteria. That's about it.
Great.
So
Excellent. Glad it's moving forward. I appreciate the update and we'll have a, maybe have a
yeah,
PowerPoint
we'll do the
next,
maps, yeah.
next time or January or whatever. You know, no rush on it. Appreciate it. All right, let's move into old business. The first one on here is our crosswalk at Kirkham and Denver. And I walked away from our meeting last month. Chris, you weren't here, but we had someone come and talk about having a crosswalk. They had already done the studies.
I've
And
been following the email messages.
and we were gonna like sort of typically like, let's talk about it next month. And Sinan said, no, we'll do it. So they did it.
Wow.
So it's right now, it's almost like a crosswalk zone in that area from west of Denver Place up to further east of Slocum Avenue. And we already had an advanced crosswalk signage on to east of Slocum, so it remained. And we incorporated another one to west of Denver Place, as well as the locations, the signage with the pointing down. This is a crosswalk at the two crosswalks. The curb ramps were already in place, and now it's continental blocks marked. And so as we agreed on at the end of our discussion last time, we would do this and see what the results will be like. And then when there's an opportunity to budget for the rapid flashing beacons for these locations, the payer for it, well, actually, we will need two assemblies, I think, if we don't want to consolidate. Then at that time, we can enhance by doing that.
Yeah, and I think we did get an email from the gentleman,
Yes.
I think, saying, thank you. Can you put the rapid flashing? And I think our conversation has been that paint is better than nothing. People still are crossing there without the paint. But along Mr. Buck's comments earlier, and just, I think our goal is as we develop our crosswalk sort of policy, that it would be great to budget some more of those in.
What is the cost per again?
20 to $30,000
For one location,
per pair.
and that's for the lighted walks.
Obviously, that's a challenge for us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, that's why you don't see them everywhere. I mean,
Be very selective where we put them.
Yep.
So if we wanted 10 through the city, that's like very substantial.
Yeah.
I'd just pick a number.
Right, but thank you for that rapid response and getting that done. Urge everyone to maybe take a look down there and see what you think.
So does that open up some of the, well, there's old business for it.
Yeah. Anything else on that? The next one, Chris,
Yes.
The floor is yours. Want to talk about the commercial truck deliveries?
When I was here last, Mayor Arnold suggested I talk with Dave Smith, who is the chair of the Old Webster Special Business District. I spoke with him and he invited me to come and talk to that commission meeting, which I did, and I introduced you remember my fancy, and I invited them to, I said, we're not gonna solve this today. I wanted to just see what we're thinking, but we're open to ideas. No one could come up with anything beyond different from what we have already proposed. They had, apparently they covered it again in their meeting while I was away. And I talked to Dave today and he suggested that I speak with two guys. You may know these two guys.
Two nice guys.
Two nice guys, yeah.
They left town.
Too soon.
So one of them is Ron Clip, who is the owner of the little bike shop.
Yep, no, Ron.
And the other is Frank Romano, who is, I guess, owns the Parkmore. And both of them said that apparently they had expressed interest in this at their other meeting. So that's why Dave gave me their name. Ron said that by far, in his opinion, the best one is the one where the truck is across from the backside of the school. So up the hill, kind of at the crest of the hill there. And he said the only issue with that is when the school is in, if kids are coming to school. But he said, in his opinion, based on what he's seen, those trucks are there from around 9 to around 2. So the school isn't a problem because kids are dropped off before that. And kids are typically on their way home about the time their trucks are leaving. So that shouldn't really be too much of a problem. Then I talked to Frank Romano this afternoon, as a matter of fact, and he said he agreed that the trucks are there late morning to early afternoon. And he also agrees that and I think it was option 3 that I'm thinking of. Yes, option 3 would work the best for, so they're pretty much in agreement that it should be done and that it should be done in that location. So, I think we're ready to move forward with it. Yeah, go ahead.
So
You want to look at these?
I saw them
Okay.
here. Maybe others need to see it as well, but
I got that. Oh, okay.
Just out of curiosity, what was their general feel of the issue? You said they were already talking about it. What angle were they,
Well, it's been recognized that the trucks parking to unload, and these are big trucks. They're not little panel trucks. These are big trucks. They interfere with traffic at the corner, particularly people who are turning, and that's already a kind of a crowded corner because there's parking on both sides.
well, they've already made their turn.
Yeah,
And they see a truck
and
they
it's
have
kind
no
of
choice
like,
but to-
uh-oh, now what do I do? That's the problem. And so pretty much they're aware of the problem and they just think that the best way to fix it is to get the truck out of that tight spot right at the intersection.
So you said that they feel that way,
Yeah.
and I appreciate that. But the proprietors of Olive and Oak and Clover and the Bee, has there been any input
Did
from
you speak
them?
with the owner of Clover and the Bee? I thought you did.
And he responded to us. I mean, he would like it, I'm sure, where it is, because their entry is not that side door. All the deliveries come in the front.
Well, but I would argue, I'm not telling him, about his business, but the entrance they're going into is back behind this restaurant, as I understand. Is it around the front?
It's the front. It's the Lockwood side,
Really?
is what he told us in that email.
Right here.
but he doesn't dictate.
Yeah, exactly.
Parks.
No.
It's the driver of the truck and the company that's delivering, right?
Yeah.
That is
Has
right.
anyone talked to them?
Apparently, from what we were told, that is a union job. And the owner of the truck company has
Well,
a modest of control over because those guys are, they're watching the clock.
They're Teamsters.
Yeah.
but
And
he,
so-
he said there's multiple. It's not like one trucking.
No,
There's
no.
many different
Three or
kinds.
four.
size of the trucks and so forth that
Well,
come throughout the week.
I guess my one concern, I think your solution makes a lot of sense, getting them up closer
Yeah.
to the school. But I wonder if you're gonna have the guy that has to roll the supply dolly down that hill and back up it, if he's gonna have an issue.
It's a great point. There are actually, there's at least one big advantage in parking up there, and that is there's a ramp to get into that parking lot behind, so you don't have to wheel that dolly up over a curb. You can come out of the truck, go up that apron, and then down the sidewalk. I
You're
don't
saying
think it
there's
would be-
another door back here somewhere?
No, there's
Just that.
right here, yeah, right here. So if he parks here, he can walk up that ramp and go down the sidewalk rather than trying to go up over.
So
the
and you're
curb.
saying he brings his materials and he brings his supplies in there?
Yes.
That corner door or that front door.
Yeah, one of the.
Well, there's three, because there's also Lemke. And what Mark told us is that all three businesses, there's three businesses here, you know, Clover and the Bee, O&O and Lemke, all
They
come
go
in
there.
the front.
Well,
So I mean, that is a long, not that the drivers have any say,
Well,
but they would not.
well, that actually, do they have say? Can they be forced to go up there, or are they gonna park wherever they want and there's nothing?
They
you
can
can-
have some weird stipulations about
yeah.
handling
Into
distance
that.
from the truck.
I mean,
Very well done.
Can the city put up, you can't park your sign?
Well, they can,
Put
they can
those
put,
signs up.
Yeah,
It doesn't
they can put-
necessarily dictate that the truck driver's gonna park there.
Right, exactly.
but I think if we designated that at certain times of the day for deliveries, big truck deliveries, at least we've done our part. Whether the truck drivers choose to go along or whether the owner of O&O feels like, I think it's the right place to go.
That means also though, I mean, this is probably a positive, but
Yeah.
people can't park there except for trucks. It gets
Well,
marked as a loading zone.
One of these guys made a suggestion. He said that, why
Here's
don't
this
you? Yeah, sorry. Yeah, why don't you put signs here that say for deliveries, truck deliveries between 9 and 3 only?
Is that feasible?
I mean, you could have,
You
that
go wherever
could be
you
the
want.
ordinance.
Well, I mean, if the city says they won't do it, I mean, it's, doesn't matter what we say, but.
We can I mean, you can make whatever suggestion you want, then it's up to council to pass that ordinance, whether they
Yeah.
find it to be.
Well, we can start though with your saying it's not practical.
Well, enforcement, you mean? I mean,
Well-
enforcement are not practical.
If you can't have an ordinance because it's not possible, then there's nothing for council to do. If it is possible to have an ordinance, that's nice. to
Well, I
know.
mean, just drive around the high school. All those have different hours.
Yeah.
Okay,
Every ordinance has,
well, I don't know that, but okay, take your.
you know, no parking from,
So
The question is this in line with the bigger conversation of how we're going to institute the parking proposal moving forward? And where does this factor into the proposal that you've already submitted to council?
This is
does.
unrelated to
Yeah,
that.
this is.
this is
totally-
This is
business district.
unrelated, yeah.
is it talking about one trucking company?
No,
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 No.
several,
It's several.
yeah.
multiple, you know, for all three businesses have
Okay.
multiple.
Lemke has freight trucks,
Okay.
I'll
the
note-
others are
okay.
food service
There's a sign there now that says 15-minute pickup and delivery only. So
down here.
that's- Yes, but that's basically indicating to them that's your pickups. What if we moved that up the hill, you know?
Right.
At least that's something to just say, no, this isn't your delivery spot, this is.
I thought that delivery marking was for like to go orders.
It was initially, that's what it was for during COVID. And it's kind of become a quasi
Delivery zone.
delivery zone,
Mm-hmm.
but it had no real relation to that initially.
Initially, yeah.
Or what if there's a no truck parking
Hey,
sign posted?
Chris,
Yeah.
if you say we move the delivery up here, would you still recommend that that be street parking?
Actually, my recommendation would be that still were, for pickup, like food pickup, the first 2 or 3, and then these up here could be regular parking spots. The main thing though is to get that truck and that congestion away from this corner because that's really dangerous.
But there are three options. The way it is now, here or here.
There were 4, actually. The other one was to go inside. And they tell me.
But that one-
The problem with that one is the
That's one
trucks
way.
can't can't get in and out there. In fact, I was told that if there's a car over here someplace, that this guy literally could not get out and make the turn. So, yeah, so that was out. So, yeah, so there are three. But this is the one they favor. The guys who are business people down in that, they like that one.
Okay, I get it, but they're not in these facilities. It'd be nice if Mark Hinkle said, there's no way those people will park there, because he would know that he talks to them all the time.
Well,
And here he might say, yeah, I think I could make them do that, but I can't make them go down there.
they can't make him do anything from what we were told.
There's relative
Yeah.
pressure.
Well, do you want to make, do you have any other comments? I mean, Eric, do you think it's,
I think that they're gonna park where it's most convenient for them to deliver, and then it become an enforcement issue.
If this wasn't 15-minute parking, people might park there, then they can't get in there.
Good point.
Statistically.
Mhm.
but does that
Depends on the
do
time
the
of day.
same
Yeah.
thing as the truck, having cars there?
Yeah, but didn't we already establish that when they can't park at the curb, they just park in the street, northbound?
Well,
So it might not matter what we do with the curb
I-
anyway.
my thought is, it may not be perfect. Nobody has come up with anything better. The problem we're trying to solve is a safety problem. It's dangerous to try to turn left there when those trucks are there. I would like to make a motion that we recommend to the city council that this location be for delivery trucks
Between,
between 3 and between
or 9 and 3?
9 and 3 or 10 and 2 or, you know.
Chris,
Whatever.
before we make that motion, I just want to discuss this a bit. I know we don't have lots of time here.
I'll keep my mouth shut for a minute.
How practical is it for us to try one, decide that doesn't work, try another, find out that doesn't work, and every 6 months we try something? Is that unrealistic?
To some degree,
Yeah,
I would
and I
say,
understand
yeah.
why.
yeah.
I personally feel that this is a more compromised practical. They might do it, but what Carrie has said is that they're going to ignore it and park right here. And then nothing's good.
Well, no, I meant if the curb is full, what they're doing is parking in the street. If the curb's not full, I assume they'll try to pull to the curb, because that puts their truck out of harm's way
So
too.
if this was marked, they might have the availability of getting there and they might go up there.
Yes, I'm guessing.
I don't know how excited they're gonna be about doing that. I mean, if they absolutely ignore our rule, which seems likely, as much as that seems the ideal to all of us, is it never gonna happen?
Well,
You
you
start
made a
to-
good
If you
point.
enforce it,
A good point about their distance that they're,
I don't know, but they could
Yeah.
very well have a thing
they
about
very well could,
distance.
yeah.
Well, I mean, our drivers go a hell of a lot farther than that every day through buildings. I mean,
But they
You know,
have
it's-
no choice, not because I mean, would they have still parked in the street? Breaking rules.
I'm just saying, it's not 10 miles. It's
I don't think it's
half a
that far.
Robert,
I really don't.
I know what you're
Downhill.
saying, they're just gonna ignore it, but if somebody gets a ticket, they'll stop ignoring it.
Okay, because
Yeah.
they'll get in trouble for getting a ticket.
Yeah, because they're getting forced on. But yeah, they might initially.
If your guys got tickets, are they gonna stop doing something?
Yeah.
If you're a CDL and you get a ticket, it's a bad thing.
It's a parking ticket.
Well, I don't know. Parking tickets are bad for them. I know speeding would
I'm
be.
sure all tickets are bad for them.
Okay, all right.
No, moving
Is
tickets
the-
are very bad, I don't think parking tickets are as bad.
Can I, on the proposal, is the proposal that we block off additional spots that would be truck loading and unloading only from 9 to 3, which would mean that other cars could not park there during those hours?
And Emily, I don't know if you see the attachment, but it's
Thank
it's
you.
It's not gonna-
what Chris is recommending, and that he's talked to them, that it would be
That's what I.
2 spots opposite Bristol,
Let
the
me try this up.
Or behind the fence.
yeah,
Yeah,
nobody really parks there.
Emily, I'll try to get online and show this.
and I follow, I see it, and I was kind of following too that it was
Because
up by
it's like
Bristol.
on the street, like,
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, you know, I don't know, it feels like blocking off parking spots for the few times the trucks come is something to
not-
consider too.
but
It's just
not
relocating.
only- Yeah, Chris, the motion that you're proposing to make is to take that spot just south of the parking lot and have a sign that says loading and unloading 9 AM to 11 AM.
Yeah, what,
The rest of the time, it's a standard parking.
it's a regular parking, and
It opens up.
it opens up more parking closer to the street here.
But we need to know that you want that to be regular parking, not short-term coffee pickup parking. Because that's what it is now. So I think
Well,
you'd make both recommendations.
I guess that's not something I really feel strongly about. If you.
Wait, why do you, because right now there's no signage indicated. right?
It says 15-minute
I'm talking
delivery.
about the spot he wants. Oh, I'm
No,
sorry.
yeah.
I see what you're saying.
And I think it's important to take that away because if people are not parking there, the truck will park there.
Yeah.
You want people in it, so they don't.
Well,
And when we were talking to businesses, I don't know if the proposal was to take those spots away, because I know businesses do like those spots for their customers to be able to run in.
We're adding a spot, aren't we?
No, the idea is that if trucks are parking here because it's 15-minute and it's open, then they take it. And if you took those away to prevent them, then the shops are not so happy because they lost their 15-minute parking that was being used inappropriately.
Okay.
I don't think we lose any parking. I think we gain parking by moving the truck up the street.
That's not what I was saying. I was
Yeah,
saying
I don't.
Here, can you give me
eliminate a
sharing
15-minute parking
privileges?
practice.
I don't know if we need them anymore, but.
Okay,
So I think we make I mean,
Yeah,
again, city
yeah.
council makes the call. We're just
exactly.
making a recommendation to them.
Should
So
I
Yeah,
start
I'm just
with-
trying to preempt some questions that I know at least one council member will have when it comes to council.
yeah,
I think you have to consider what the original intent of that space was designated for, and that was for, as Robert suggested, that was for pickup for coffee, because they have the window there that they serve coffee out of. And if you eliminate that, that's probably not gonna make the business owner very happy.
right.
So I'm just putting that comment out there. And so,
Is it, I guess you'd have to change the ordinance. I mean, if the sign
correct,
said 15-minute pickup delivery or pickup,
it would,
no deliveries.
it would involve repealing the old ordinance and then putting a new ordinance in.
Okay, your key is you're adding no deliveries to the 15-minute parking.
Yeah, so actually, it's not just telling the trucks where to go. We gotta tell them explicitly,
Where not
you
to
can't
go.
go here.
That's right.
Which
That's a great-
requires an
That is
ordinance
a great
change, is
point.
what
You
you
are
said.
correct. Yes.
Okay, so that, there's a little more complexity here.
Once we're touching it, it's no big, what's the difference?
So would that be the recommendation, or to designate this for
No
Deliveries.
No truck delivery parking here. Truck delivery parking only here. 10 to.
but
9
keeping
to-
that 15-minute?
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's hear it in a succinct sentence.
I move that we recommend that the city council change the configuration of parking at Gore and Lockwood, saying that no deliveries will be along this within so many feet of Lockwood here, and that delivery trucks may park in this location between 9 and 3.
I think we need to get that line, yeah.
So that's a lot further up. Gary, than what we thought. Well,
Yeah, it's,
No,
well,
it's
it's right
there.
there. Yeah, the back end of the truck would be right there where the curb cut is.
You're gonna have to also account for sight line coming out of that parking lot. Particularly when you have a truck and you have sight line.
Yes.
Yeah, when that truck is, yeah, you're right there.
But he's saying if
Oh,
there's,
yes, I see. The truck would have to be a
You've
little
got a
further
car
back.
coming north and that truck blocks it, somebody coming out, but wait, that lot's one way only, right?
One way out, yeah.
Yeah,
But
Only
I
out.
think it comes out
Oh,
that way that.
What
comes
it
out.
is, I live there and
yeah,
it
it's,
doesn't seem.
yeah, you're supposed to only come out of that, not
Actually,
in.
I don't think it is one.
No,
way.
it's in,
It isn't.
it's only one way in by the bank
Yeah,
and the other way,
Oh,
this
oh,
way.
I see.
Yeah.
it is not treated one way, I guarantee you
Okay.
that.
No, it's not one way, but it is at the other end, which was our problem for trucks. So it is coming in. by
But
the
I think
bank.
what the chief is saying, if someone's coming out of that lot, there's a truck there. You won't be able to see
Yeah.
the car
Yeah,
coming
no, I understand. I
south
understand.
on
Good.
Gore.
What was the reason why we couldn't just move it, instead of being just south of the inlet, just north of it?
This one,
Yeah, that one. Yeah, what was the reason against that one?
nothing.
I don't know that we had a problem with that one. I just think that they preferred getting trucks away so that people can park
'Cause it's-
here.
This is not loading for me.
Compromise wise, in terms of really getting it to happen, it feels like this is a little bit more realistic.
Mhm.
But and if you add the sightline problem, you're kind of solving
Well,
another problem.
If that's what everybody wants to do, we could just give them an option. It could be here or it could be here, whatever the police department feels is most appropriate. We just want to get the trucks away from that corner.
Is this beyond the sightline? Is this a safe sightline situation?
You might need to go a bit.
I
further.
think you'd have to go.
There is room.
Car length or?
There is room up here.
At least the car like that.
This
I
is
mean, you-
usually all day, every day,
No,
how
it's,
often?
it's sporadic.
I've never seen one, but
Oh, my gosh.
I
I've
live
seen it
there,
all the
I
time.
do see them a lot.
I'm not very observant.
Well, you're not driving there
Second,
9 to
third.
3.
I think the time
Good
that
job.
it takes them to unload is relatively quick.
Really? Okay, cause I'm trying to, I don't
There
live
we
right
go.
there, so I'm trying to get a picture of.
I mean, if
So does
this
that
was,
mean, Eric, do you feel this is a threat to the public on that, or?
We've had no accidents because of the situation that I'm aware of recently or in the distant past.
I don't know what your sense of it is, but my sense is that the traffic on Lockwood is growing. And there are times when I can't get out. You know, it takes 10 or 15 minutes to get
go
out.
back and put that stop sign back there, or that no.
Well, I think somebody made a suggestion, making that in the business meeting that I attended, making that a no left.
It
Yeah,
was
no,
during
wow.
the highway construction.
What was the
It
no?
was?
Gore?
You couldn't turn left onto Gore.
Here,
Onto Gore?
Yeah,
What about off of Gore?
because they didn't want everyone cutting through when Elm was backed up.
Right.
Right.
oh yeah, it was like that.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I heard every day. Woo!
Where you have, you usually don't have difficulty making a right, would be cutting across traffic to go. west.
Well, I think the
Yeah.
same problem exists. If that guy's parked here and there are cars parked here, these people come in here, kind of sneak over across the line and they block that. That's the problem.
It's, if I was to describe the issue, it's a condensed area with not a lot of good options on this particular problem.
Right.
I've kind of looked at it, I've kind of tried to think about,
We gotta be careful that we don't create a solution that then just
Yes.
replaces one problem with.
yes.
Exactly.
And you say there have been no accidents.
I'd have to go and research the numbers on it, but at that intersection, in my mind, I'm trying to think, there have not been many accidents at that location. Now, there have been a couple accidents where an older gentleman drove onto the curb with the city there, and that's why that,
Oh, my gosh.
but that was unrelated to this situation that we're talking about.
Which left turn was not allowed? That
Yeah.
one or that one?
This one,
That's what I thought.
Lockwood to Gore.
Right.
yeah, coming west. You couldn't take a left here.
That's not really on, like, let's not even go down that.
No,
road.
no,
Let's not do that one even. I don't know why I said that.
It seems like this is a good compromise, that this would be for customer parking. This would be for deliveries.
The sight line really pushes me to that. Because they start moving further and further down there.
Because, I mean, if you're trying to come out of here,
So
you don't see that car.
would we be adding a new sign or just moving that existing sign?
New
Is
sign
it-
because
Yeah.
the old one changes. Old one changes, this is new. Sorry, Carrie.
No, I was just gonna say, I think the existing one they said they wanna keep because that's for coffee.
But it
stuff.
says, pickup and delivery.
Yeah,
I think that would have to say customer
during
pickup,
COVID only.
Yeah.
customer pickup. This would say, delivery. And it would be marked. And whether they follow it or not is, at least it's, I think it's making that the safer intersection.
So you guys are so for Emily's sake, you're proposing instead having it where these cars are on the street, like these two cars are, the other option of having it at the end of this
Yeah,
block?
it's that one, but yes, that's what
Yes.
you said.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
So here.
I would be satisfied with that.
instead, and this says 15-minute pickup and delivery. Yeah, that delivery.
They deliver in front, right? Okay.
And that makes sense, cause this is well, in the back would only go to this building, but this is a step up.
Right.
It's gonna take a minute to load, but. And I don't know
But
what
they
they're
don't
like from
deliver
the
in that
back
door.
lot, I don't know, yeah, I was gonna say, well, they wouldn't wanna deliver or step up.
I mean, they don't anyway.
Yeah,
Well, why did this come to our attention? And Eric says there have not been problems here.
Chris,
Because I've witnessed the problems.
Yes. I've seen it too.
Not more than once, several times.
Yeah.
And
Where somebody isn't really paying attention and turns left, oh crap, the truck's there. There's somebody in the oncoming lane, so they can't get through, and all the traffic out here on Lockwood they can't turn right. It creates a big mess. Somebody's gotta back up, to let the traffic through, and it's just a dangerous thing.
so do you want to start your motion over?
Okay,
If we're not in a hurry, do you want to write it up?
That might be a better way to do it.
And bring it to the next meeting?
Send it out.
We can probably
I
handle
What's
like
that?
that idea.
Yeah, why don't you do that and just maybe talk to the people you talked
Yeah.
about, just, okay.
I have to say, if you could talk specifically to the business owners there, it just seems like you're getting buy-in with some important people who could be unhappy later.
well, the only business owner involved is this guy.
I think, I'm not sure, and Councilmember Shepherd, does any kind of communication from the commission, does that need to be written in writing?
You mean to make a proposal to council?
Well, just to go to the community to ask for feedback and so that we're above board on everything. I just want to make sure that
Oh, like. to-
individual members shouldn't go to business owners and ask them direct questions. Should it be when they're representing TAC, should it be through email correspondence? Is there any particular method of correspondence, or is there any concern about that?
I don't actually know. I think
the mayor we've already talked to.
But
Yeah,
that was
make
also
sure.
actually a commission to a commission person because they're on the other commission. It wasn't just the public.
Right. That's right.
I think as long as we're truly just trying to gain information and not trying to sway them one way or the other, I think it's probably okay
Okay.
to have conversations. What do you think?
I would suggest that it be in an email format. That way everybody's included and CC'd, so it's a commission asking, and it's not just like
Sure.
a person-to-person conversation.
That also makes it standardized, so we make sure that we're asking all the businesses kind of the same questions, so it's easier to compare responses.
And maybe just have your option be saying, we're recommending the first two spots be
Yeah.
customer pickup.
As they are today.
Well, minus the delivery option.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll be interested to see what the feedback is.
I just saw a truck in the street view.
yeah.
Do you see that? It was just,
I'm waiting for it to, yeah.
just like the frame before this, there was a food truck on the side. It's very timely.
Loading zone, right?
There it is.
Oh, you're
There it
right.
is.
Look at
They park
And you see-
everywhere.
yeah, they-
They park.
Hey, they're parking on
They're parked
Lockwood.
on Lockwood. They
Is that
kind
even
of
a
just,
parking space? That's not even a parking space.
I don't think that it's
It might be-
actually
there might
not
be one
marked.
there, but-
It's not marked, no parking there, I don't think.
He's definitely farther.
Yeah, they're in the turn
I
lane.
rest my
Yeah.
case.
Yeah.
So that would just be allowed. I mean,
Well, it's
I
not
mean-
allowed. It's what the truckers do.
right, that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. So what is our?
It
stance
goes
on
towards what
that?
Eric was saying, that you've got to congest, you have so many, you're so limited in your
Yeah.
options to accommodate it that they take the leeway to.
Yeah.
To be honest, this
This
truck
is
is
sacred.
too long to fit where we're proposing that the trucks go anyway, just for the record.
I mean, Mark did say they have,
Let's see if there was, if he chose to park there because it was filled up.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, finish what you're saying.
no, he said that
Yeah,
they,
see?
they do have, up to 54-foot trailers like that was.
Yeah.
To box truck, you know, they have all kinds of different trucks and so forth.
Right.
So, yeah, a 54-foot trailer would not fit.
Well,
But
that,
I'm just pointing out that us making this recommendation will not fit all the trucks.
well, that goes, I mean, you'll let people do what this trucker does.
This one would do 54 foot.
We
Oh,
got sightline.
No, but you'll just have to push it up the street.
Yeah. If it's,
It's further up than that, but almost the
All
street.
right, so you're gonna come to the next meeting with a written motion.
Yeah.
Is that what?
yeah, this one even looks like somebody's making maybe a pickup parked outside of the parking area.
Chris, I think you've done some really good.
Yeah.
Suggestions here, and I do think it makes sense just to say this is the way we're leaning, and I agree that, you know, there's some pretty big stakeholders that if they,
Yeah. At the end of the day, I'll be happy if we just get away from that corner. Cause I just think that's dangerous.
okay,
And there's a lot of people walking up and down this street now. And, you know, sometimes they'll be standing in the street waiting for the cars. It's. Okay,
all right,
Thank
our
you.
last piece of old business, and we talked about this at our last meeting, Eric, you were not here, but we talked about our parking proposal. And if we are, you know, if it goes through, how we might assist city staff in implementing.
Yeah. So they were kind of wanting like an explanation, I think. Presented to council, like how best to move forward with this proposal, given the circumstances. And so that's where I'm kind of stuck. Cause I don't really have a good answer for like, one, it would fall towards public work to implement the signage. We would be responsible for the enforcement piece of it. Of course, there would be a leeway, but how can we take what you guys are recommending and come up with a schedule? Where are you gonna start this schedule? Like who's gonna do the work to determine where the parking signs go? And is that something that the TAC would be willing to take on to try to move forward with the issue versus just laying down like, cause it depends on with the street. And then you have the front and back end would be, if I understand correctly, would be permit, in the middle section would be, free parking.
So it sort of depends on, are they gonna repeal all the existing ordinance?
And the shared parking for the residents isn't that still only by their request?
Yes.
So I would think step one would be to look at these areas and say, this street's narrow enough, it's gonna have a parking restriction. And then maybe we identify those and somehow let the public know, this is what we've identified based on width and safety alone. And then, cause I assume we have to do that, but then let them then raise their hand if they want some of that parking to be preserved for people only. But the first step would be to just go back and look at every street based on width.
So you're saying we should do that? That's, you're asking us to.
I'm
That's the
asking,
question,
I'm
yeah.
asking for you to take on that task, yes, or be a piece of that task.
I don't want to rule out any solution. But it was pretty clear to me, at least several months ago, that we were to keep our hands out of that. But that was for Public Works to decide how to implement it. We were told pretty bluntly, that's not for you to worry about.
At that stage, perhaps, maybe if we're asked explicitly because
Well, I
they
mean,
want us to, maybe it's. a
We can
different story.
certainly, I think we have the skills and we certainly have the talent mostly on that end of the table.
Street widths.
But we were kind of told, no, that's an official thing. You can't do that.
We were definitely told we can't collect data. So we cannot go measure street widths.
That's my point.
Yeah.
We were
We
told
were
that,
told we cannot go measure street widths.
Yeah.
I think that was more about keeping us to slow down. But we can, I mean, as long as, if it's okay, if we measure them off Google Earth, like, you know, or if now we have permission to go out and use a wheel and measure
Yeah.
a street or. How the
But
city
again,
wants us
is
to do
this
that.
proactive or is this repealing the existing ordinances? And then when they come forward, then, I mean, these are just guidelines. Right?
No, the
Right.
width is not a guideline. The width is good.
Yeah, I mean, when we first proposed it, it was responding, this is where our tack got hung up. Was this, are we responding to a specific request about a about a particular street? Or is this we're gonna look at a 5 square blocks and decide, just look at all the streets holistically and decide? And I think we were expecting council to tell us whether they were willing for us to go in and override existing ordinances, or if it was just gonna be for new streets or new questions.
So I'm sort of gathering from this that the council is not passed it and they're saying, hey, how are we gonna divide up the work if we do pass it?
Mhm.
So it doesn't all fall on the city staff.
But do you interpret it the same?
Yeah, I think council said, we're open to it. We just need more information. Like, so this is where I'm trying to define it down so that I can, I think if I remember correctly, they said yes, but then they said, how's it gonna look? Like, how are we gonna implement this moving forward? And that's where I'm stuck. Like, I don't know how best to do that, and that's where I'm looking for a direction from the members of this board on how to present that.
I feel like that's staff should tell us whether we should be stepping on their toes first. Like Public Works, do you want us to look at your streets widths?
Cause I thought there was a council sort of had, they didn't have a vote on the ordinance, they had a preliminary,
right,
weigh in. And then it went to Dr. Peoples that was going to get back to council on how it would be implemented. And so are they now saying, well, how can we assist in that implementation?
I'm saying.
You,
I'm saying.
I think I could say that all of us are willing to do it, right?
Yeah.
If it's okay for us to do it.
So
We're
I
allowed
think,
to.
yeah, and I think that there might be, I just want to clarify between coming up with an implementation plan and doing the implementation. And those are two separate things. And I think one of the things that council was coming up with is like, how would this even work? It's the whole city, right? It's like a very big scale. So how would we phase this? How would we do, like, what would we do in what order? Not necessarily like we're ready to contact the residents on this street, but kind of a timeline of how long is this going to take? Because it is a lot of staff time. It is a lot of work to, figure out where the signs are going to get replaced and contact residents and measure streets. And so I think having a timeline and an implementation plan will help council figure out how we, as a body want to move forward. If that's my kind of recollection of the conversation.
That sounds much better said than what I said, but that's how I saw it.
To do that, it feels like we need more information, a two-way set of information with the city. We don't know how long it takes to do a street, so we wouldn't know how many could be done in a 6-month period. Much less how many they won't do them.
Are we just
Day after
needing
day.
to start out with okay, these are the streets that are too narrow?
Right. So
Just a list of those.
So one of the staff members recommended starting like with the high school streets from Selma to Swan to Plants to Sylvester, and then moving out from there and kind of giving, I'm not saying we need to have a defined timeline per se, but a recommendation for how to move with this, and then a recommendation on some of those.
As feasible, we'd like them done from 1 to 100.
Something
in this
like,
order.
something like a little more defined.
it sounds a little bit to me, what you just said about starting at high school. It sounds like that might be priming the pump just a little bit.
What do you mean?
In the sense that we would commit to doing those first. And then as other people see what we're doing, then we might start to get requests from other neighborhoods or other blocks.
But this isn't request based.
This is just putting together a recommendation on how to move with the proposal, the council, not necessarily the implementation of such. It's just how would you implement this plan moving forward? What are your recommendations with that? Then we'll take those recommendations. And then we'll come up with, once we have those recommendations, how we can put a time schedule to it.
You're asking TAC to give the criteria that we would apply.
Yeah, like just do like I said, like starting at the high school, okay, these streets, this is what we recommend here, this is what we recommend here, this is what we recommend here. And then we can kind of build on that.
The guidelines are done, like this
Yeah, it
street.
shouldn't
under these
be
That was, that
circumstances.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
So,
this
okay,
zone, this zone.
So really what we're saying is applying the guidelines you guys made, on a street by street basis.
Yeah.
well, I think that's what we want to try to decide if that's.
You know, what we could do is we could break it up into, get little bundles of streets, tranches of streets, and then take a few at a meeting and discuss it and come up, and then we can do that over the course of a few meetings.
And that was my suggestion. I thought that was the easiest.
Great minds think alike.
Sir,
pilot area maybe.
Yeah.
Lieutenant one. So, you know, the Webster Groves High School area might be one of the, could be one of the
We
pilot
should do that. I
areas.
mean, yeah, that would be.
That is a good idea.
He's full of a lot of good ideas.
And expand from there, maybe if we want to more extrapolate into like a citywide type of
Yeah.
application.
Okay, so I got an important question.
Exactly.
Chris,
I got an important question about how we do this, because I can see it happening in a couple of ways. We could begin by measuring the streets and identifying, where how shared parking would work.
Google Earth will get you darn
Yeah.
close on
Yeah.
measure.
Oh, yeah, I think it will too.
Yeah, we
but
just,
we're not even thinking about shared.
I know, that's where I'm going. So maybe we do implement we implement the street width issue, we get the street width issue addressed. And then people can request the shared parking
I see that.
and make it kind of two,
And that's a concrete thing. This is
Yes.
how wide this street is.
right?
Period.
So do we want to choose 3 or 4 streets to talk about next meeting?
yeah, I think we could split up areas and blocks.
And then next meeting we'll.
But do we even want to do this without an ordinance?
Well, they have
Because
to
they're
make an
asking us
ordinance.
for the data to.
We're not gonna do it. We're gonna tell them, we're gonna plan it.
We're gonna say,
That's what we're doing.
I think they're trying to get an idea. If we looked at, say, I've got an area pulled up, I don't know, we'll just say this Newport Bonport Square. If we looked at those streets, then we'd say, these are the ones that are gonna need signs. These 6 streets are narrow enough that they're gonna need no parking on one side,
Yes.
and these 3 streets are gonna need no parking on
You can go
you
through.
know,
the
2
highlight,
sides,
Google Earth,
and
right,
that at
yeah.
least gets them an idea that like, oh, we're talking about changing, 6 out of these 12 streets for the full block or for whatever it might be. And then you get a sense of like how far this goes.
How much
A
of
lot
our
of them
volunteer-
probably have them already over
Right,
there.
but I think, yeah, that would be the next step is what's already no parking, but in theory, we're changing that. We're just putting it all on one side.
Because where it's sat was the council is going to repeal the existing ordinance and put this in place. But they're like, how best to move forward to put this in place? That's the recommendation I'm asking from you.
Yeah,
So, I mean, would it be like over a 5-year period, all the streets would?
It's gonna take a long time.
It's gonna take.
Oh, yeah.
Would be, I mean, is that what they're looking for, that kind of a recommendation?
I don't know that I would, what do you think?
I mean, I agree that it's hard to estimate the timeline, without all the data, but I think, we're gonna start with this neighborhood and we're gonna do the street measurements first, and then we're gonna do the resident parking requests or like whatever. And then are we gonna do all of that in one area and then move to a new area? Or are we gonna start that and then phase in the next area before one's done? Like,
I mean, the real impetus was congested areas. So I think, instead of thinking about the whole city, we could
Yes.
look at, 5 or 6 congested areas to,
And by far, the ones we're interested in are these narrow streets around in this part of the city. So I think that's a great place to start.
yeah, you could identify, here are the 5 or 6 congested areas, here are the order we recommend tackling them. And as we do each one, here are the steps that we would need to do: street width, residence requests, whatever those different steps are, whatever it takes to do one area. And would you do one area wholly, or would they overlap? As you're finishing one, do you start the next? Those types of ideas, I think
Yes.
would be helpful.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think we could go through and look at streets and measure widths and say, and compare them to our guidelines and say, this street gets no parking on one side. This street, gets no parking on, what did we say? 2 sides. Oh, that'd be pretty narrow. So there's probably very few of those.
Yeah.
But which streets by width alone would get no parking?
Yeah,
And-
and Carrie,
and I-
that could be one of the steps, right? Like you could say, we're gonna look at this neighborhood, and step 1 is somebody needs to measure the widths of the street. And that might be Public Works or, whoever, and get that data point. Like that could be one of the steps in,
Yeah.
how to do a section. Mhm.
Maybe the first step is to, ID areas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the second step is to go to those areas and
Measure
measure
the
street widths.
areas.
And we can,
Right.
I mean, if that's something we could do here in TAC, like you can measure here on Google Earth. I'm not sharing Google Earth. I had it pulled up, but I've still got Google Maps. But we can measure right off Google Earth. It's pretty close. It's within inches.
and maybe if it's within
Yeah,
a foot or something, we go out to a field.
yeah. Then we go out and spot if we need to spot check.
Well, maybe that's something to add to the plan too, right? Like step 1 is measure on Google Earth. TAC can do that, kind of in parentheses. And step 3 is contact residents and Public Works, whatever the steps are, and like maybe an idea of, along with the staff liaisons here, like an idea of maybe what party we're proposing would do that.
But you want us to tell you which parties are gonna do what? That's where I'm just kind of surprised.
I mean, well, we've got staff liaisons here too, right? So
Yeah.
I think that it would be helpful to know, like, I think knowing like, hey, TAC is willing to do this piece will help city council and, city staff and leadership figure out like, what is the lift here? Who's doing what? As they look at, what to approve moving forward.
Oh, even if we just say the city and the city tells us, well, that's Public Works and that's this and that's the other,
Yeah.
still get a master document, even if we weren't making the decisions at every place.
Yeah.
Or you could say something like, TAC is willing to do, something, it doesn't have to be in stone.
And I sense that this will help the council a lot, because if you have a clear understanding of how it's gonna work, it's a lot easier to support it.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. You guys put a lot of work into this. I just want to make sure that it doesn't die.
Bless you.
So.
I would say this is a really good sign, right? That we're getting down to the details of things and
Yeah.
trying to figure out how to actually implement it.
So what,
This was from the original kind of our investigation. This is according to the existing
do we,
zoning and
Yeah,
ordinances.
you could take those and use those as your tranches of streets.
Yeah, exactly. We could do what overlaps the yellow right off the bat.
Yeah.
Because that already is considered a residential parking district.
I'm thinking of Cherry around parks, where there's high usage. Just, they may not be in that, but there's just a few more things that kind of come to mind.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, we
So-
said something about starting around the high school.
What,
so
what
I
if
pulled
we,
that up.
what if we made a motion to say for next meeting, we come with a list of 4 or 5 streets to have that data? And the data is with,
I think what they want first is for us to take our
the
plan
plan, yeah,
and add steps to it. That include, and then say, these are the steps we think it would take to do this, and these are the ones that we're willing to do.
So could I make a suggestion? This might be an opportunity for a work session. It doesn't need the whole room full of people. 2 or 3, I think we could get what, up
you
to
can get it to
3?
3.
So 3 of us could could work on identifying the areas
And sort of the
in
plan
the plan.
that will make council
And
more
then
comfortable.
we'll bring that back and we'll vote on it as a group then.
Are you volunteering?
Yeah.
To be part of that?
But if I can be helpful, yeah,
Carrie?
So are you talking about a subcommittee or are you talking about a work session?
Work
Those are
session.
Two different things.
Oh, a work session's all of us, right?
Work session.
Oh,
can
I'm
be
sorry.
all-
Oh, I'm sorry. I
you
misspoke.
do,
Just as a
like,
subcommittee.
a subcommittee.
How does it work? You pick a date and that's the
Well,
work session date? or what do you-
Yeah, and what happens is if we do this, just three of us, then we don't have to have an agenda, and we don't have to record the meeting and all that kind of
That's a
stuff.
subcommittee.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a subcommittee.
So, but for a work session, we do need all
We
of
do
those
need all
things?
that.
Yeah.
You have to have an agenda, but you don't have to have like, a spot for people to comment and you cannot vote on anything. in the work
Right.
I think we
session.
just want a
Only
subcommittee,
Doing the
like
work.
a subcommittee put together our plan.
Right. That was the three of us, right?
Yeah.
That was the
You
original.
wanna, get
Just
back
seeing who
together?
We're sitting in the library.
Sure, I'm fine with that.
I'm fine, yeah, I'm fine with that.
And is by the next,
Do you wanna take?
Thank you.
I would like to have Eric, and he seems pretty motivated, and I think.
I can
he's
do
got
it
some
after
good-
mid-December. I can't do it before mid-December.
Okay.
I got too much of this. I would have a lot of free time after December 18th or so.
Okay.
So, yeah.
But I will have no time after.
so that maybe it's the three of you and we bring
Well,
this to the
okay, I'm
January.
sorry, I wasn't.
Oh, no,
I'm
no,
gonna
that's not,
excuse
it's
myself.
just the time of year.
Oh, I
I'm
see.
happy to do it. It's
Okay.
just we're getting on
Yeah.
Well,
into.
I also want to point out that this is something that's going to take several years to implement, so that. Let's not try to rush to get
Rush
it.
it.
Let's
Right.
make sure we get it right.
Right.
That way, when we present, or when I give this to the council, that they have a clear understanding of what.
So Chris and Carrie and Eric, subcommittee, and we bring this to the January meeting, is that,
Mhm.
Well, I was gonna be on.
was that?
Thank
Well,
you.
it's-
So until
Yeah.
mid-December,
But we, there's
Susan,
only
and after
three of us
mid-December,
who can
Eric.
record for the
Okay.
subcommittee.
No, I'm
So-
kidding.
Oh.
No, if Eric wants to do
I
it.
I don't
that's
mind.
fine.
I'm happy.
Okay. Do you have time? Yeah, okay. I'm just counting.
You're not measuring streets, you're just writing a plan,
Yeah, correct.
right?
Just
We're
writing a
talking about an
plan.
hour talking.
But I think.
This group?
Yeah,
It's only three, how can it keep going?
All right,
All right,
are we good?
We're good.
We're golden?
We're there.
All right,
We have time to.
new business. Mr. Buck, you can't leave. I'm kidding, I'm
he's
kidding.
like, you
Oh, no,
finally
wait,
bored
no,
me to
but
death.
just as a resident, when you all first did this parking stuff, it was a simple plan. It was like this
Yeah.
width, and this width. No cars, one car, two car. I get it. It was so simple. I mean, it's a simple solution. So good luck.
New business, I put this item on here, before we get to that, does anyone have any other new business you'd like to bring up? I was approached by somebody that, the bi-state bus, schedule has really been cut back in Webster. I don't know if everyone's aware, but the 56 goes from St. Louis Community College to Shrewsbury bus, to the Metrolink. And it's really a pretty important thing. I take it quite often. It used to come twice an hour, each way. They cut that back to once an hour each way.
On Lockwood or?
Where does it pick up?
Bug, Olive Oak, it goes all the way down Lockwood. It picks up, on the curve over there in Lockwood. It goes down through Kirkwood. To
And in
St.
front
Louis
of the
Community College,
university.
in front of Webster University, Eden. All the way down to the Metrolink. They cut it back to once an hour, and then there's no weekend service now. And it stops at 7 o'clock. Now, Olive Oak has 240 employees.
Wow. I had no idea.
Unbelievable.
I
Yes.
know.
2 or 3% of them live in Webster. So think about either they have to drive here or take a bus. a lot of their workers. And we have a lot of restaurant people in town, and we have a lot of people that we'd like to take the bus here if we can. So, long story short, this guy said that, you know, he sort of complained, and they said, hey, we hear you. It gets a lot more teeth if we hear it from like city officials, whether it be TAC or city council or whatever. But I would propose, and I would write this letter. I just want to see if it's okay to come from everyone to by state saying we'd like them to restore their old bus service.
I thought I read an article about that. They had some serious financial issues.
Yeah.
We always have serious.
They always do. But if they don't hear from like the city saying, hey, we want bus service here. You know, we have a lot of restaurant workers, we have a lot of people that come to
Did
restaurants.
the ridership warrant 3 times or?
Well, they would say no, that's why they scale back on, it.
Okay.
But it's one of those chicken and egg type
Are we
things.
allowed to do that? Write letters on behalf of?
Well, we would write it and ask the city to approve and send it on, I guess.
Yeah.
Assuming, yeah.
So we've submitted letters to like the Webster Kirkwood Times. And so forth, but this would be a letter that would, we would make sure the city attorney agreed, and I'd like it to come from TAC and the city council. And maybe even some business owners, I don't, know, but I just wanted to bring that, it was brought to me, and I think it's a really important thing. It is frustrating not being able to take the bus to the Metrolink to get downtown on the weekend.
I think pointing out something like, I think that's a strong case, the number of, hospitality workers and things like that, because I'm sure that Metro looks at Webster Groves and says, we don't have any transit
Right,
dependent riders here.
Right.
But we do.
And the
Just gotta
fact that
point
only
it
2 or
out.
3% of the people working there live in Webster.
Right.
Right.
Exactly, and I think, it really feeds on that public transportation reduces traffic.
Yeah.
Everyone says, well, we need more parking. Well, maybe we need more transit. So I could write this letter, and Emily, do you have any comment on that? Is that something that you think is appropriate for us to do?
I do not know the rules along that. I think it's good to ask Neil that.
Okay,
But I do think it's a worthy topic.
yeah, and I think I'll talk to Neil, and it's just, I'll write this and we'll bring it to the next meeting and see if we want to vote on submitting it. With that, if no one else has any new business, Emily, do you have any city updates? This is when Laura usually goes on for about 35 minutes and fills us in on
I don't have
everything.
that much prepared, but I would say that the survey for the comprehensive plan and the current survey for the comprehensive plan is out there at journeytowg.com, and encourage anybody to go out and do that. That's open through the 22nd, so through Friday. Also, if you go out to that Journey to WG website, there's a lot of information from previous outreach. So they have posters, they have presentations, they have reports, they have data. So if you're interested in this whole comprehensive planning process and want to see where it is so far, it's a really great resource. But that's a lot to dig into everything on the minimum side of things. If you could, which it's still commitment. If you could take a few minutes and fill out the current survey, that'd be really good. This really helps us and helps the Lakota group as we're planning for the future of the city. So that's my big thing is just to
Hey,
do the
Emily.
survey. Yeah.
I just, definitely want to second that. Go to that website and fill out the survey if you haven't. I copied just 6 pages that I thought really pertain to us. I can send this out to everybody as a PDF, these 6 pages, but it hits on a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about, the part that I copied on all of the complete streets for all the questions. There are, to Dave's comment earlier about walkability, there's all kinds of photographs and different kinds of crosswalk ideas. There's different mobility sections. So they're doing a lot of good work. And this walkability and traffic safety and public transportation is one of the 6 pillars of the key themes. So I will send this out to everybody.
Thanks, Clark. Yeah. So I'm not sure what time on Friday, but it's open till Friday, probably close of the day. And I think that's all that I had to bring to you, but are there any questions, anything I can help with?
No, appreciate, you joining us.
Absolutely. Good meeting.
Yeah, thank you. That's an oxymoron in my world, but
Meeting.
yeah. Thank you. Last thing, we have December 16th on our calendar? Do we want to do a December meeting?